There are ways of avoiding problems appropriate for any tenancy, including privately rented and social housing.
Well, people can avoid problems in regard to their tenancies by first of all looking at their tenancy agreement. Tenancy agreement will contain usually common clauses about having regard to neighbours, so not to make excessive noise, avoid swearing, avoid criminal activity, and those type of things. Other things like graffiti as well. But it's worth having a look at the tenancy agreement to start with.
As a tenant, you have the right to have your home kept in a reasonable state of repair, but you also have to look after it. You must take care of the property by doing smaller jobs that could be reasonably expected of you to do, such as unblocking drains or mending fuses.
Get in touch with your landlord if there's a problem. You need to report it. You have a duty as a tenant to report issues of disrepair. And in many cases, it is the landlord's responsibility to carry out those repairs.
You must pay for the fuel and water that you use. Now, you can either pay for this yourself or it might be included in the rent. You may be able to get help paying your gas, electricity or water bills. For details of the maximum your landlord can charge for gas and electricity, consult the fuel supplier or an experienced advisor. For example, at a Citizens Advice Bureau. To search for details of your nearest Citizens Advice Bureau, including those that can give advice by email, click on Nearest CAB. You have the right to use any services that you need to run your home without any interference from the landlord.
In terms of if they have their water or gas or electric disconnected, and that's been done by the landlord, that's likely to be illegal. I mean, obviously, if the fuel's been disconnected by the fuel company because you failed to pay your bills, then that's a different matter. But again, the need for advice is there. These are essential services that are within your home that you need to maintain. We all need gas and electric and water. And they shouldn't be disconnected. Well, an inventory is usually a list of furniture or household items that are in the property when you move in. It's normally drawn up by the landlord, but it's very important that you as the tenant check what's on there, because at the end of your tenancy it'll be used to see what items are missing or have been damaged. So do check what's on that inventory very carefully and make sure that you agree it with the landlord at the outset of your tenancy. Well, if people have lost or damaged furniture or household items, our advice is to mention it to the landlord. The issue, as we explained before, in terms of the inventory, could mean that you're responsible. If the landlord does spot that an item has been damaged or lost, and you could be responsible for that. It could be taken off your deposit at the end of the tenancy, or if that's not enough, you could be sued for the for the remaining amount. So if you do damage anything or lose anything, mention it to the landlord. Agree a price, perhaps, or a replacement. Most landlords will be okay with this, and that's our advice. Get in touch with the landlord.
Over a period of time, most household furniture and contents will become worn. For example, floor coverings. This is known as wear and tear.
In terms of what happens to items of furniture like a cooker or a fridge, depends on whether the landlord supplied those items at the beginning of the tenancy, and usually would be included in the inventory. So if they have been supplied by the landlord as part of your tenancy, then it should be the landlord that's responsible for fixing those items. So again, if you've got problems with the landlord in that regard, and he's refusing to fix an item such as a cooker or a washing machine, for instance, you need to take that up with the landlord and again seek advice if necessary. In terms of insurance and who's responsible, what we advise is that you talk to your landlord about this at the outset of the tenancy. If the landlord is saying that they've got the insurance for these items and for the property, ensure that you've got that in writing from the landlord. If you're in any doubt, we would recommend that you get your own insurance, your own contents insurance. In terms of television licences, you as the tenant would normally be responsible for getting a TV licence. If you've got a DVD recorder, a TV, obviously, or a video recorder, something that can accept TV pictures. If your landlord, though, has installed the set themselves, then they may have a TV licence, and you should ask the landlord that. If the landlord says it has, what we would recommend is that you do check that with the National TV Records licence, because ultimately, if someone knocks on that door, you're watching TV, or you've got a TV, you're the one that's responsible and liable if you don't have a TV licence. So do check with the National TV Records office, and they'll be able to tell you, or you can find out online if there is a TV licence registered for your address. You can keep pets usually, but do check what's in the tenancy agreement, in the written agreement when you move in. If you have got a pet before you move in, do double check with the landlord, even if it's not stated in the tenancy agreement, that's okay, that the landlord's okay with that, because potentially it could be a problem later on. If you have moved into the property already, you're halfway through a tenancy agreement, for instance, and you're thinking of getting a pet, again, before you do so, we would strongly recommend that you do okay it with the landlord first, and sort out any issues beforehand, because potentially you could find yourself being evicted because of your pet. The landlord shouldn't discriminate against you on the basis of your race, sexuality, gender, disability, and so on.
If you think your landlord is discriminating against you, you should seek advice from an experienced advisor.